In an age where everyone speaks, where every opinion echoes through endless feeds of noise, the man who remains silent becomes powerful. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this long before the modern world was born. He saw that silence, not speech, was the ultimate weapon of influence. Today, we think of Machiavelli as the master of manipulation, the cold strategist of politics. But beneath his reputation lies a deeper truth. He was a student of human nature. He studied power, fear, loyalty, and deceit, not to corrupt others, but to understand how people truly behave when stripped of illusions. And among all his lessons, one stands out with eternal relevance: the power of silence. Silence is misunderstood. Most see it as weakness, as passivity, submission, or fear. But Machiavelli, and every great mind after him, from Marcus Aurelius to Sun Tzu, saw silence for what it really is: control. When you speak, you reveal. When you are silent, you observe, and when you observe long enough, the truth about others and about yourself always comes to light. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes that a ruler must learn not to be good when the situation demands it. That doesn't mean being evil. It means being strategic, knowing when to act, when to hold back, and when to say nothing at all. He understood that most people lose their power not because they lack intelligence, but because they talk too much. Words are like currency. The more you print, the less they're worth. A man who speaks constantly becomes predictable, transparent, and easy to manipulate. But a man of silence, he becomes unreadable, and what you cannot read, you cannot control. The Stoics shared this view centuries before Machiavelli. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence sharpens perception. It is in silence that we process, learn, and understand. It is in silence that emotions calm and reason takes control, and it is in silence that strategy is born. Machiavelli knew that silence could protect a ruler more than any army could, because armies defend from outside threats, but silence defends from inner betrayal. When you do not reveal your fears, your ambitions, your plans, your enemies have nothing to attack. They strike blindly, and a blind enemy always falls first. In our modern world, silence is rebellion. We live in the empire of noise, constant opinions, arguments, comments, and reactions. Everyone wants to be heard, but few want to understand. We are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. And so, the silent man stands apart, mysterious, calm, unbothered. He becomes magnetic, because what we cannot read, we desire to know. That is the psychology of power. But silence is not only a tool for manipulation, it's also a tool for self-mastery. Machiavelli's insights align with another truth taught by the Stoics. To rule others, you must first rule yourself. If you cannot control your words, you cannot control your mind. And if you cannot control your mind, you cannot control your destiny. There is a moment in the discourses where Machiavelli writes that men should appear open and sincere, but keep their deeper intentions hidden. He wasn't preaching deceit. He was teaching self-preservation, because transparency in a corrupt world is not a virtue, it's a vulnerability. The world is full of people who listen only to respond, not to understand. They use your words against you. They twist them, weaponize them, and turn them into chains. Machiavelli knew this. So did Seneca. So did Marcus Aurelius. They all understood that the tongue is a sword, but silence is armor. When you are silent, people project their own assumptions onto you. They fill the void with their imagination, and imagination is more powerful than truth. This gives you leverage. It keeps you one step ahead. In politics, in business, in relationships, the less you reveal, the more they guess. And the more they guess, the more they expose themselves. But silence doesn't mean absence. It's not about retreating from the world or hiding in fear. It's about strategic restraint, speaking only when it counts, reacting only when it serves you, choosing calm when chaos surrounds you. Machiavelli understood timing better than anyone. He knew that power was not about constant motion, but about the appearance of motion. A ruler could wait in silence for months, even years, and then act decisively at the right moment, shocking the world. Silence builds tension, and when you finally speak or act, that tension becomes impact. Think about nature. The most powerful forces are silent. The sun rises without a sound. The earth moves quietly beneath our feet. The ocean's depth is vast and wordless. Noise is often a sign of weakness, of insecurity. But silence is the language of confidence. So how do you master the power of silence in your own life? Start small. When someone insults you, stay calm. When people argue, listen first. When you're uncertain, pause. Every silence you practice becomes a seed of wisdom. Over time, you'll find that you speak less, but say more. You'll begin to notice details others miss, emotions, motives, inconsistencies. You'll start to sense the rhythm of human behavior, when to advance, when to hold, when to strike. Machiavelli once wrote that men are simple creatures, and whoever deceives them will always find someone willing to be deceived. The silent man understands this. He doesn't waste time trying to change others. He simply observes and adapts. He bends reality by mastering perception. He lets others talk themselves into mistakes. And here lies the paradox. Silence, when practiced with discipline, speaks louder than any words ever could. It radiates confidence. It demands respect. People fear what they don't understand, and silence makes you unknowable. To be silent is not to be powerless. It is to hold your power within, where no one can touch it. When you speak, your power flows outward. When you are silent, it gathers strength inside you. And that inner strength, that calm, unshakable core, is what Machiavelli, the Stoics, and every wise man sought to master. The modern man has forgotten this art. He thinks loudness equals confidence, and that visibility equals influence. But history remembers the thinkers, not the talkers, the builders, not the braggarts, the strategists, not the screamers. Marcus Aurelius led the greatest empire in history, yet he wrote privately in silence, never intending for his words to be read. Machiavelli wrote his masterpieces in exile, banished from power, yet his ideas shaped nations. Silence gives birth to greatness, because it forces the mind inward, and from within, all creation begins. So if you want to master power, learn the art of silence. Speak less, observe more. Don't explain yourself to everyone. Don't justify your goals. Don't announce your next move. Let results make the noise. Because in the end, the man who can stay silent in a world of chaos is the man who truly rules it. When you understand silence, you understand control, and when you control yourself, you no longer need to control others. That is the real victory. So remember, silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. If this message inspired you, take a second to reflect before you act. And if you believe the world needs more men who master themselves, leave a like, share this message, and subscribe. Because true strength begins in silence.